Yaga. Are we gonna record this review or what?
Yeah.
Welcome back to another review here on RGBtv. Today, we've got a review of John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum. Alright, so, Andy, you saw John Wick Chapter 3, as did I. What were your thoughts?
All right. Well, I gotta say, for starters, I'm new to the John Wick franchise.
Me too.
I've
Very new.
I've slept on these movies for the past several years since the first one came out. I've heard great things about both Part 1 and Part 2 from the beginning, and they've just been like those movies that you don't get around to watching. And then I saw the trailer for Part 3 in the movie theater before. I don't remember what movie we were watching, but saw the trailer in the theaters, and I was like, this looks like the best action movie of all time. Based off the trailer alone, I was like, okay, I have to watch these movies so I can see this third one. So we did a little bit of a marathon and watched 1 and 2, and both fantastic action films. Just pure, straight action films. And that's all they are. They don't pretend to be anything more. They don't try to be anything more. They're just silly, dumb, in a great way, action films. And Part 3 continues that legacy that they've created so far. And I gotta say, it was pretty fantastic. It was pretty great.
I agree. I thought it was awesome. I also did the same thing. I hadn't watched the first one or the second one, and the premise always intrigued me. I don't know why I never got around to seeing them, but I did see Parts 1 and Part 2. And then Part 3, I think, amazing. Also, it was just, like you said, it's a dumb, campy, just shoot 'em up.
Yeah.
But I thought it was fantastic. I thought it had amazing set pieces. It's the best action scenes that I've seen in a long time from an action movie. And that's the best part for me about this movie is the action and the set pieces.
Well, that's what these movies are all about at the end of the day. So the third movie picks up pretty much exactly where the last movie left off. He's literally on the run from this gigantic underground organization. You said the High Table, right? That have just impossible numbers of assassins working for them.
Every assassin in the world has been contracted now to hunt down John Wick. Like, he's priority number 1, enemy of the High Table. Every assassin
$14 million on his
$14 million
going after him. Yeah. So, and then
so that's the premise of
as Ian McShane says, I'd say every assassin in the High Table going after him, he'd say the odds are about even. Because John Wick is basically a superhero.
Yeah.
He's basically a superhero. He's unstoppable. And that's why people that's another thing they love about these movies is, like, you'd think a character that, like, cannot be stopped would be, like, boring.
Yeah.
But it's not boring. You're just rooting for him the entire time. You just want to see him take out droves of enemies, and it's like, it doesn't get boring.
And what I liked about that is that in this movie, it's not like he's unstoppable, but it's like, just brushing off mosquitoes. No, he's getting beat up. He's getting thrown. He's getting cut. He's getting stabbed. He's bleeding like crazy.
Yeah.
So the risk is high. You don't know if he's going to die or not at the end of this movie, but he's getting thrashed and he's still pushing forward.
True. And to be fair, throughout all these 3 films, they basically have been picking up exactly where the last film left off.
Yeah.
So John Wick has essentially had no rest for 3 straight films. He hasn't had a moment to breathe where he's not fighting off some assassin trying to murder him.
I think the 3 films take place within 1 week.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I think.
Yeah. I'm not sure, but
let's talk a little bit about we've already covered the action. I want to talk a little bit about just the way the film looks.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the cinematography was awesome. The color grading that they did for this movie, the dark tones, but they're still like colorful. There's a lot of color. I really like that.
Very neo-noir-ish.
Yes,
right?
Super well shot. I thought this film was super well shot.
Yes.
If I had to say a negative thing about the movie, it was just that the acting was whatevers. It's just like campy actors delivering cheesy lines. But that's kind of the point of the movie and how we discussed.
As far as like the actors, I'd say they were all pretty great. I don't know the name of the actor. He was the African American fellow that was on Fringe. I don't know if you ever watched Fringe. He's been in a lot of stuff. The concierge character. Okay. Yes,
I love his character.
Too. He's awesome. Yes, and in this film, not to get too into spoilers or anything, but he finally gets to see some action. He gets to see some action, and that was pretty great too. So, as far as maybe actors that I didn't care for all that much was the what was her name? The Adjudicator. The Adjudicator.
Yeah, she was kind of cheesy, but like in a bad way almost.
Yeah, I didn't.
It was a little too much.
Yeah, me. The way that she like delivered her lines, I don't know. I don't felt that she fit into the world all that well. I don't know. I didn't feel her character too much, but I mean, she didn't like ruin the movie or anything. Another actor who was in it was Halle Berry. I don't know. What did you think of Halle Berry's character?
She didn't spend a lot of time in the movie. Maybe like just like one act, but. I thought her character was pretty cool. You got a little more backstory about John Wick and his past, like, friendships and connections and stuff. The scenes with her in it were awesome.
The dogs.
John Wick is all about dogs.
Absolutely. And in this movie, the dogs, they get some revenge for their fallen canine in the first film.
The canine comrade revenge. But yes. So overall, I thought John Wick 3 was fantastic. Addition to the John Wick. I don't know if it's a trilogy.
I don't think so.
We'll talk about the ending a little bit.
Let's get into spoilers.
Yes, spoiler time. Spoiler alert! If you have not seen John Wick 3, it's your time to tune out. We're about to get into some juicy deets.
Let's just start from the beginning. Okay, so the movie, like we said, picks up right exactly where John 2 ends. Right, with him excommunicado on the run from. Literally New York City, which is apparently 50% assassins.
Yeah,
just 50% assassins.
It's like there. Everyone, dude. That old lady sitting on the bench, probably an assassin.
Exactly. Okay, he's going down some dark alleyway. There's a crazy homeless man ranting to himself that he's contracted by some assassin. Like literally nobody is not involved in this criminal ring. But anyway, so it picks up exactly where we left off, and the action. Just right off the bat is fantastic. He's on the run.
We get the big scene at the library. That's
we
like the first
the opening scene with the library with the that giant.
Honestly, that was probably my favorite fight scene of the movie, just because of the creativity of the fight itself.
Yeah.
First of all, the choreography of all the fights.
Yes. Beautifully
choreographed. I wish I could choreograph something like that. Now, the fact that he kills this man with a book. And just the breaking his jaw with the book, and then just putting his neck over.
Just adding to his repertoire of deadly household items that he can kill things with. Pencil in the part two.
Part two, yep.
Now he adds a book to his list. Then the scene after that, he is in like some antique weapons shop, right, where they have like a bunch of knives. That was a fantastic scene too, where they're fighting, right, and then he realized like they look to the side and there's like these displays, glass displays full of all kinds of knives and whatnot, and they're like, "What are we doing?"
That entire scene was awesome. I loved the throwing knives. Just them throwing knives at each other and just missing or hitting. And then just the way the scene ended with John Wick just like 15 knives in each person. Fantastic.
No, it ended with the axe. That
dude was like the axe. John Wick was like, "And my axe."
Oh my god. Can we talk about the horse scene?
Yes.
It's like this, John. There's no weapon. There's no item or thing existent on planet Earth that John Wick can't turn into a weapon of mass destruction. They fall into some sort of a shed where they keep horses, right? And this guy is like literally using horses. He's like firing the horses. Like, all right, let's position you. Booking fools into the wall. Just
he's a horse
fantastic.
Whisperer.
Literally, he can use anything. And then there's just that. Then he just gallops off in the horse, and on the side of the horse, just amazing. I was
scared that there were gonna be horse deaths.
Thankfully, there were no horse deaths. Just plenty of human deaths.
Then we get the other action scene that I thought you were talking about, which was when they went to Morocco, to the Paradise Oasis, and he meets Halle Berry. Or he reunites with Halle Berry.
Yeah.
And then that whole fight scene. At first I was a little worried because I thought the guy that John Wick wanted Halle Berry to introduce him to.
Bronn from Game of Thrones.
Yes. I thought he killed the dog. And I was like...
Well, he did shoot it, right?
He shot it, but it hit the Kevlar on the dog's vest.
See, that's what John Wick... That was his first mistake in the first movie.
Yep.
His dog should have been wearing...
Did he not hear about the story of John Wick? And then he's shooting another dog in front of John Wick?
That's true.
Big mistake, my friend.
I love that. He's like... When Halle Berry's like, he shot my dog. He's like, I get it.
Yeah, and then the dogs get their revenge in the big shootout afterwards.
That was fantastic.
That was great. Just the use of the dogs, following the dogs, the camera movement.
Yeah.
Cinematographer, dude. DP, you did a fantastic job with these shots. These shots were great, especially the shots with the dog.
I feel like they're doing what the Fast and Furious movies are doing, but like
better.
in a toned, like just barely toned down, but way better choreographed.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So like, and that one, it's like, all right, let's see how far we can push this. We're gonna have samurai fighting him while all on motorcycles, and it was just like, it was glorious.
Yes.
But continue to the last fight in the Continental.
Yes. So John Wick gets to the Continental. He's supposed to murder Winston, and Winston is supposed to step down after the deconsecration of the Continental. Winston will not step down. He's been serving faithfully for 40 years. I'm gonna keep my position. And John Wick's like, we've been homies.
Yeah.
We've been homies for a long time. I ain't gonna kill you. And then, they decide to team up. So then the adjudicator, let's send in our top tier, highly armored. Like, you can't even shoot him. You shoot him in the head, the helmet is bulletproof.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna go anywhere with
that. Was a
guys.
great little moment.
And it was great. You actually felt dread. Like, oh, how's he gonna get out of this?
Yeah.
Like, no bullet is working.
Yeah.
And then, let me see under your helmet real quick. And then he shoots him under the helmet. They go back to the safe and, take a little break.
Yeah, that's the great scene. There's a great little moment where, like, after they first go out there and they realize all these soldiers are, like, highly armored, right? Like, bulletproof armor, head to toe, essentially. John still finds a way to take them all out. And they head back to him and the concierge character head back to the little vault where Winston is hiding, sipping on wine, while the adjudicator is calling him, and he's just hanging up on her. Like every phone call, he just hangs up on her. They go back and they're like, okay, we need stronger weapons. They just go straight to some like armor piercing guns or whatnot, right? And it's just like the action just keeps ramping up. It just somehow it just keeps ramping up over itself, even though it's over the top from the get-go, and it just finds ways to keep pushing that. So
he goes after he destroys all the highly armored dudes, and then he goes up to the main glass room. There's like a big glass room, and then the guy who we haven't mentioned yet is the leader of like the ninja samurai clan. Mm-hmm. This bald dude. Apparently, he was pretty funny. He was hilarious. Yeah. So he's battling the samurai leader ninja dude, and that fight was great. He's kind of starts off battling the henchman first. Mm-hmm. That was one of my favorite scenes when he's battling the henchman, simply because I'm a huge fan of the long takes. Yeah. I'm a huge fan of, like, Daredevil did it, I believe in season 2, or it might have been the first season when they're fighting in the stairwell. In the stairwell, yeah. It was like a 3 or 4 minute continuous long take of just fighting. And that just shows the beauty of choreography, of well done choreography, these long takes. Mm-hmm. And this movie had a long take, and the two samurai ninjas were just thrashing John Wick, throwing him against every conceivable artwork, every conceivable piece of glass, just shattering here and there. John Wick getting his butt kicked. I love that scene. I love long takes. Yeah. I love that in that scene, right? He was fighting two of those guys, and there were several moments where they could have killed him if they wanted to, right? Yeah. Like, they got the jump on him, and they held back. And they held back because they're literally fanboys. They're literally John Wick fanboys. They're like, it's an honor to be fighting with you, John Wick. I saw your first movie. We're a big fan. That entire final fight did feel like super elongated, but I didn't mind the length. But towards the end, when he's fighting that guy, and eventually John Wick stabs him through the chest. Yeah. And then he's like on the ground, and we think he might have died. He sits back up, and John finally like gets one moment of peace and quiet just to sit there and catch his breath. And the guy sits up. He's like,
He literally breaks the fourth wall in this moment. He's saying what every single person in the audience was thinking. He's like, "That was a pretty cool fight, right, John? That's pretty nice. Yeah, that's pretty cool." And then he just falls to his death. Fantastic.
What an honorable death.
Indeed.
At the hands of John Wick. So what did you think of the ending? Do you think... I kind of have a theory. I think that Winston and John Wick planned getting shot after Winston gets the hotel back. You know, you only get the hotel back if you kill John Wick.
Yeah.
And then he shoots John Wick. He falls off the building.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that was planned? John Wick's like, I can handle it, the drop. This is the only way you're going to live, Winston, if you do this, if we do it this way. Or do you think Winston was just an a-hole who just betrayed John Wick?
To answer your question, I don't think that it was planned with John Wick's knowledge, or like John Wick was in on this plan. I think that Winston shot him and thought, you know what? If anyone can survive this fall, it's gonna be John Wick. So he shot him, and he fell down, and that was like the only thing he could think of to ensure that they all make it out of the situation, right? Because I mean, otherwise they would probably kill them themselves. You know, the adjudicator and all her people, whatever, would just put an end to John right then and there. Yeah. So that was his way of kind of getting John out of that situation and away from those people. And just hoping for the best, hoping that John survives that. But I don't think that John was in on that plan at all. That's why at the end, when you know, adjudicator comes up to Winston and is like, oh, you know, his body's gone. And he's like, oh, what are the odds of that? It's like Winston was counting on him surviving that fall.
Okay.
But I don't think it was planned with both of them.
All right, so now we're going to do a little bit of our viewers' spoiler chat, where you guys send in your comments about the movie and let us know what you think. Today, we're going to focus on this one very specific person and their review. This comes from Vic Alv. Says, I mean, I don't know what I can really say about John Wick that hasn't already been said. This is a fun movie that you don't think about too hard. You just go in and watch the carnage that is this film. I really enjoyed the film, and I will be honest to say that I'm satisfied with the ending of this trilogy. I don't think I could get into spoilers without going on and on.
Fair. I agree with his assessment, I must say. Even though I don't know if this is the ending to the trilogy. I hope
Probably not.
I hope not.
But very well said,
I
Vic.
agree.
Very well said.
Thanks for your input.
Yes, and if you guys want to send in your comments for our next video, keep an eye out on our Instagram and Facebook. Look for our spoiler chat pics, and make sure to leave your review there.
All right, let's get into our final thoughts. Jonathan, what did you think overall? Would you recommend this film?
I love this movie. I thought it was a great addition to the John Wick family. So, the best way I could think of putting it, which is meant 100% as a compliment, this is... Even though it might not make sense, this is the best video game movie I've ever seen. It's not based at all on a video game. There's never been a John Wick video game, but I felt like I was watching somebody play a third-person shooter. Mm-hmm. Just the way that the action scenes transitioned from the action to the cutscenes, back to the action to the cutscenes. It was so smooth. The story felt like a video game story. Mm-hmm. The action. The way you reload is like, oh, I'm gonna pause. I just got rid of these bad guys. I'm gonna pause and go back to the vault to get to load up on more weapons. I don't know. It felt like this is the best video game movie of all time.
That's an interesting take. I've never heard anyone describe it like that. And it's not even
based on a video game. But if there were to make a video game movie based on, for example, like Hitman, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
It's meant as a compliment because I know video game movies are pretty terrible.
By and large, yes.
And there's never been a great one. But I'm willing to give the honorary title of Best Video Game Movie to John Wick Chapter 3. These are my thoughts. I would totally recommend it. If you love the first two, you're going to love this third one. And I'll probably end up buying the trilogy on Blu-ray. I really liked it. Great action movies.
I expected fantastic action. I got fantastic action. I didn't expect much depth. There wasn't much depth. But that's perfectly okay because, like I said, that's not the reason people watch these movies. They watch these movies to see Keanu Reeves kick some booty, kick names, take ass, and and just destroy. I would absolutely recommend to watch it if you're a fan of action films, if you're an action junkie, which I'd say we are. And it's just just beautifully shot, beautifully choreographed action. done right. Great film. I would recommend.
Well said. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching our review of John Wick Chapter 3. We hope you guys liked it. And let us know if you liked the movie in the comments below. Make sure to follow us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And we will see you guys in the next video.
Be seeing you.